Oh yeah, I'm gonna come back to the podcast.
Look, I mean, it's a little bit of podcast magic when you do more than one in the same day, right?
Well, we took a break for a minute. I went back to my other job and ate dinner, and
if you just didn't
magic.
have jury duty, this wouldn't be a problem.
I know.
and by what you mean, your other job, you mean helping your wife Anne out at the Retro Emporium on Meeker Street in Kent, Washington.
Woo woo! Go find us at the Best of Kent at the Kent Reporter and vote for us.
But not then, because by the time you listen to this podcast, I think voting will be closed.
Oh, dang.
But you can still go check out the Best of Kent, Washington. I mean, who wouldn't? There's so many things for comparison. You think Kent, Washington, known for the
Caveman Barbecue.
And
Maggie's on Meeker.
Oh, the Retro Emporium.
The Retro Emporium. Yes, those three things.
Rocks and more.
And Sweet Things Bakery.
Rocks and more. And it's named after the person, Moore,
yes.
Rocks and more.
So inside baseball, when we first opened the store, Anne was like, did they misspell their name? And I was like, no, I think that's named after the family that owns it. How would you know that?
And they're Moors.
And I was like, because they have rocks and they're Moors. Yes.
And now, because we've mentioned this, I'm going to actually have to send this podcast to a certain person that we will not name on the podcast because we don't have permission. But anyway,
we talk about things and stuff.
Well, we're going to talk about the second installment of Streets of Poison, Captain America, number 373.
Plus the return of Bullseye.
Right. And the Black Widow and Diamondback and Captain. Okay. So, I thought, I just would recall, I thought this was a story about Captain America fighting drug dealers.
Yeah.
And now we have Bullseye, who's defending. I don't know. Well, I don't want to give away the story. I feel like let's just get into this monstrosity that it is.
It's wildness. That's all I gotta say. These streets are poisoned because you got
it's just adding more
over Cap. It looks like, and then Bullseye just looking like a fiend on the bottom of the corner of the cover.
I don't know that adding a whole bunch more characters is the strategy to make the story better.
Sounded good in July.
Well, in August, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, that's not for us to debate, or is it? As we get into this episode.
Well, I don't think there'll be any debating on this one. I think we're going to have tacit agreement on most of this.
It's pretty effing good. Because I'm trying to keep it PG-13.
Well, that will be a debate. Well, I dropped a big F-bomb about the drug war in the last episode. And fair warning, as we continue our series on drugs and alcohol in comics, Dan will likely drop the F-bomb when he sees the depictions of the drug war in these comics. But this one, maybe not, because I don't even know that it even talks about it. So we get back in, and as we, in our last episode, and the last issue, of course, Captain America number 372, Captain America was blown up by a character named Napalm, which we discussed last time, so I'm not going to discuss again. And we've got
Hulk Hogan waiting outside
and then
for
we've
him.
got John Jameson, otherwise known as Hulk Hogan, waiting outside.
Doesn't he look like Terry Hulk Hogan?
Were we, brother? Oh, I went to the wrong brother. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
Wearing a beanie cap and everything with the mustache. Is
that Hulk Hogan or is that Terry Bollea? Because as we learned in Hulk Hogan's court case, Hulk Hogan has a certain size member and Terry Bollea has a different size member. So if we were to unpants this guy, would it be Terry Bollea or Hulk Hogan? Sorry, children.
Yeah. We don't want to.
So sorry, Uncle Roger, for stealing your bit. And now we're back. So
I was going to say, as we learn in court cases, sizes do change.
Now, the best thing here is the title of this comic is called Afterblow.
I almost spit out everything I'm drinking right now.
And the funny thing is, I wasn't, you know how oblivious I am to life. I wasn't even working a bit toward that, right?
Oh my God.
I'm just fully disclosing, like, all that last part was not a bit at all to get to that title. I promise you. I was just talking about Hulk Hogan, and then I looked down and there's the title of this issue, and I'm like, perfect. Perfect, Dan. Way to go. And this is why if you ever hear us live, Greg actually has intentional comedy, and I have just like
unintentional. It's just like timing is like it's perfection.
And just talk about things. Well, anyway, we get a really stressed out John Jameson. Now, wasn't that J. Jonah Jameson's son?
I think so, yeah. Like, comes in and helps out.
Is this J. Jonah Jameson's son? Is this Colonel Jameson?
No.
It doesn't look like him.
I mean, we got a double take. He's got a mustache.
I mean, let me check.
You're going to double check on this. Okay, double check on it.
Oh, this guy is apparently the Man Wolf.
Oh, the Man Wolf. Okay.
Different
guy. Different son. Different father.
No, it's J. Jonah Jameson's son. It's John Jameson. It is indeed.
Same mother.
He just looks differently. Yeah, differently. Looks
different. Different artist.
Well, good dude. I didn't know John Jameson teamed up with Captain America. Dan learned, and this was known the whole last issue.
That's how you get Spider-Man in issue 4.
Well, we go back to Avengers headquarters with is that Agent Carter, right?
Yeah, Agent Carter. Peggy Carter.
Yeah, that's Agent Carter in a generic Avengers outfit. These are like the wrestling jobbers. These are the people they send out to get beat up by the supervillains.
Excuse me. And then, Agent Carter is not a jobber.
Well, she is right now. She's wearing, maybe this is early in her career when she only got the Avengers jumpsuit. She also has a tactical
turtleneck.
Tactical turtleneck.
I mean, most turtlenecks are tactile.
Tactile, that's fair. And she punches up some folks to go out Captain America, and we find out that here's our Avengers lineup at the time. Boy, this was a great lineup. We've got Captain America on assignment in Manhattan. Quasar, everybody's favorite Avenger and super popular hero for about 6 months, is off-world. All you Quasar fans now have just turned off the podcast. I apologize for that.
Yeah.
Cersei, on personal business in the French. Who is that?
If you don't know, then you.
Well, you're the Marvel person. Like, I rely on you for these things, and you are like 0 for 100 right now.
I'm just not going to tell you. If you got to ask, you don't deserve to know.
Oh, it's some sort of green magician character.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wait, Cersei's an Eternal. Why didn't you knew this? You're just making me look stupid. So I'm going to keep going on. She-Hulk, whereabouts unknown. I definitely know who She-Hulk is. Thor is off-world. Vision is on personal business. Black Widow is in Manhattan. So I wonder who they're going to choose. And these are the reserves. Captain Marvel, former Avengers chairperson. And we're talking about the Captain Marvel, not that you see in the movies, who's African-American and female, correct? Is in New Orleans, Louisiana. Yes.
Yeah, correct.
The Captain Marvel that they should have built the universe around, but chose not to.
I
thought, didn't she change her name at this point? Like,
no, not yet.
I thought she changed her name to something else. Well, anyway.
A couple years, like a year.
Bomb-ass costume always, by the way.
Totally.
Hellcat is in San Francisco. I thought Hellcat was with the West Coast Avengers, or is she just a reserve at this point?
It bounces back and forth.
Hercules is off-world.
Moondragon
is Moondragon is, and Star Fox is off-world, running away from the proper authorities for all the sins he's committed with his powers. So
Star Fox went to N64. Oh, dang!
Star Fox should have gone to jail. I mean, like, it's Star Fox is gross.
Star Fox is
who thought that was a good idea for a freaking character? I think I know who created Star Fox too.
We all know who created Star Fox. We don't need to talk about it.
I know. I think you're wrong there. Well, anyway,
that's another podcast. That's a whole.
Star Fox is a whole nother like 18 podcasts. All of this should be banned. Like Star Fox, I've already given Star Fox too much. Well, we're off to the next page, and Diamondback. Hey, we get some Diamondback here. Diamondback, And we don't know last issue now. Now we know that Black Widow was in Manhattan, so it could have been Black Widow. Maybe it was Diamondback. I still don't really know who Diamondback is, but they call Diamondback and let her know so she can go see Captain America. She has now she has a like a mock turtleneck with diamonds all over it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And she's got a cool haircut. She's got the asymmetrical side shave.
Am I just confused? Is that John? Like, did John Jameson not have a mustache like a minute ago, and now? Oh, he must have been in disguise.
I think he was in disguise.
Or did he shave?
I think he was in disguise
I think he took some time to shave.
You think he took some time to shave and clean up before everything?
Well, he looks more like John Jameson now. Like I could have. Yeah,
I think he was just in disguise. He's wearing a beanie and some other stuff. Look like Hulk Hogan.
Well, and then we get the next page where the bad guys are talking, and they say, "What do you make of that lowlife? Think Napalm just got antsy." And they're like, "Oh, he wouldn't have blown things up if it wasn't dangerous." And then we flash away from the onlookers, who are the same guys checking out they were checking out the gang headquarters last time.
Yeah.
And then we get Captain America appears. He has survived the fire somehow and the explosion, and he gives Diamondback a big kiss on the lips because he's concussed, which they'll not ever mention in this book, but allude to it for the rest of the story. I'm not really sure why they just didn't say that.
Yeah.
And then we get the next page of a wall of text explaining his... What is it with the amount of text in these books?
It is so much. It's like it was like, hey, let's give these kids a reason to do a book report afterwards. And
I mean, this text level is like this is like golden age level of text on a page.
It's a lot.
Like we're talking like early, golden age DC Comics.
I mean, I get it through all the pictures that are in there. This is a really cool panel, by the way. You got like half a Cap's face with all these like mini panels of him doing all the things with napalm, escaping, busting through a wall, getting away from the explosion, all this other stuff. And it's like, it's really cool looking. I don't need all the text. I get it.
Yeah. It's again, when there's too much text on the page, it distracts from the cool art.
I know. And I mean,
Marvel seems to have a problem with this because they had the problem in the Iron Man books too, right? Of the over explaining.
I think sometimes they feel, I think sometimes some editors feel like you need to have that explanation to do that. And
Ralph Machio
put on my editor's cap. And when I edit other people's stuff, I tend to try to limit text. I try to limit dialogue to that 34 word count or whatever, character count, just to make it easier on the eyes, not muddy up the art, because you're trying to get the full experience. And if you don't get the full thing on the page and enjoy the panels, you might, I don't know, stop looking at it.
You might, yes. It would be interesting.
Yeah.
In fact, somebody's driving away right now with your panels.
Lobo!
Lobo just showed up, too. If Lobo came and killed everyone in this book, I'd probably be good with that.
That would be crazy. He showed up from Legion 89. Oh my god.
Well, 1 year later. Now we get some random shit. So Bullseye is now out, and he's taken William Fisk's. It's William, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man, but that Lobo, he's back again.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So, otherwise known as the Kingpin, correct?
Yeah, but don't forget, you get you see something in the upper corner. Don't you see?
Black Widow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good call. I totally missed the Black Widow, the super spy from the Soviet Union, now converted to be a good guy, reserved for the Avengers.
Exactly.
They gave us an amazing movie later. Thank you so much for bringing Black Widow into the Avengers universe.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It was
so great.
She sure fit in the movie. We could have had like the 80s version of Captain Marvel, or a real version of the Wasp in the Avengers, or any number of Ms. Marvel could have really been in the Avengers, right? Instead of being Captain Marvel. And
we're getting Ms. Marvel
Yeah, I'm just saying, like in the Avengers movies, all the people that could have been there instead of Black Widow.
I understand.
It would have been better. But there's so many people. I mean, she was an Avengers reservist, for God's sake. Like, she wasn't even in the Avengers. I know she was in the Avengers at points, so
at points.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, reservist.
They could have had Tigra.
Oh my gosh, could have. Didn't.
Missed opportunity.
That would have been. I mean, like, honestly, when we're talking about the second story, I'm like, why aren't we seeing her?
They could have had the fake Black Canary that dated Hawkeye.
Yeah.
What was her name? I'm actually legitimately blanking. In the West Coast Avengers that carried the staves.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. My mind is a blank too.
People are screaming at us right now.
Oh my gosh, they're screaming. They're yelling, "Oh my God, don't you know? Don't you know? Why can't you use the Google?"
Because the fake Green Arrow had to have a fake Black Canary to...
Of course.
Yeah. So anyway, we are back into the story. And who is this? Is that Typhoid Mary? Is that who that is?
I believe it is, yeah.
Okay, so Kingpin has moved on from having Bullseye as his hired gun. Once Bullseye went to jail, and he apparently just left him there, basically talking his way out of it. He tells him he'll hire, in a nutshell, he tells Bullseye he'll hire him back if he gets his tooth replaced, and he gets a nice suit to wear.
Yeah, get some better clothes.
Basically, there we go. And then, so we jump back into the story, and we've got Bullseye back in action. But the other part we find out too is they weren't Kingpin's drugs, right? So it really seems forced that Kingpin is just inserted into the story here.
Is it though? I mean,
yes.
You got the fat man. The fat man is everywhere.
Like Jake and the Fat Man?
Like Jake and the Fat Man.
William Conrad?
No.
William Conrad could have played.
Could have. If they had made like anything set in Hell's Kitchen in the 90s, he would have killed in that role as the Kingpin.
Let's go 80s.
80s.
They should have just done a thing right off the Frank Miller stuff, right?
Yeah, right off. And it would have been great. Like I would have died as a kid because my parents watched all that stuff. So my
father also watched Jake and the Fat Man. I have since went back and watched an episode of Jake and the Fat Man, and it's a thoroughly unwatchable show.
It's very dated for what it was and what it is, but it's one of those things where it's like you have to remember. I mean, TV was what it was. I mean, we had Cop Rock at the time. A lot of cop love. Well,
we're back in, and Cap returns home, and we find out that Fabian made it into the drug program. Congratulations, Fabian!
Yay, Fabian!
He's now on his way to recovery. And then down at the bottom, we get, "Oh, why I shake your body on the floor tonight, make my day." Playing on the radio.
Yeah. And
there's just a lot of hip references here going on. It's very
the first listener who can dial back and let us know what that is.
It's hip.
We'll send you a sticker.
Well, anyway, some dude's driving a truck with 50 pounds of plastic attached to the engine.
Dang, that's a lot.
That's gonna go boom.
It is, and it does.
Is that Bullseye doing that?
I don't know. Could be.
I don't know. Well, who knows? They don't have enough they have too much text here, but they don't actually tell us what's going on. It just says, "There it is, my target. Imagine that, a crack house in a ritzy neighborhood like this. It must be, he's taking it out for Fisk. Okay, cool." Now Bullseye's back with his costume with the big bullseye on his head so people can shoot him right in the head, which maybe if Daredevil had taken care of, we wouldn't have to deal with all of this. So
I didn't see it.
I mean, in a Frank Miller book, don't the heroes murder people? I mean,
yeah, they do.
That's pretty much, what Frank. Thank you, Frank Miller, for making Batman dark forever. I sincerely appreciate you. So it's
he didn't use guns. He just killed.
Well,
people.
We get another conversation with Fisk and Bullseye, and Fisk is blowing off Bullseye again, and he's basically like, "Yeah, I want you to investigate these illegal drugs that are brought into my city without me." And Bullseye's like, "That seems not like a waste of my talents." And he walks away, and Fisk is plotting something. Ha ha ha. He's got that evil grin in the background. Mm-hmm. So we move on, and now Black Widow has been called in by Agent Carter. Now, this is stupid. And I'm just going to say this is dumb because they've all made it back to headquarters now.
Yeah.
Wouldn't Agent Carter reach back out to Black Widow and say, like, everything is fine?
Everything is fine. And I've let Diamondback know. Yeah, you would think there would be some communication.
Yeah, but instead, Black Widow is out and finds him, or is looking at him. I assume it's she's seeing Bullseye, I think.
Yeah.
But we don't really know because the panel layout weird. And then we also see Captain America and Diamondback doing some scouting and they're talking and they're ready to get some action going on. So Captain America jumps down to go take out some baddies.
Mm-hmm.
And well, first they fly on the
sky cycle.
Sky cycle. Thank you.
Yeah.
Obviously too, I think a master of acrobatics and gymnastics and who can run it semi super speed definitely for rooftop combat needs a sky cycle.
There's some places you just can't get to with all that acrobatics and stuff like that.
Well, he proceeds to immediately
your man away. You can't Tarzan your man away. Yourself all over the place.
You can't man your Tarzan.
You can't man your Tarzan.
Well, apparently he can because he immediately jumps right off of it and goes down into the city and leaves Diamondback up there.
Yells out Cap.
Yeah.
Cap!
And then Diamondback is like, what the hell is wrong with him? Because clearly he's concussed, right?
I don't even know how to fly this thing.
And then Natasha, who has been watching all of this, just decides to attack Diamondback, thinking like she's stolen Captain America's. She even says, "This is Captain America's vehicle." So you know what?
Yeah,
I appreciate Black Widow for not using the name of the vehicle, the Sky Cycle. I just appreciate it because it's the Sky Cycle is a name for a comic book vehicle. Is like playing Metallica when you walk out to a fight.
What song?
Just any of them. It's just a generic walkout song number 5.
Oh, geez.
Enter Sandman. Sandman.
No. I mean, honestly, okay, listeners, I apologize. I listen to a lot of stuff for the shop, for the Retro Emporium, and going through a lot of tapes, records, other things like that, CDs, other things. The amount of Metallica that I have to listen to, ridiculous. Metallica, not my favorite band. I'm not. No punches pulled on this. I'd rather listen to Pantera all day long.
I'm just going to tell you, there is one Metallica song that might be appropriate and also would not be the one that was ever played because it's a great song. Hero of the Day could have been what was being played, but that's not what anybody ever uses.
Yeah, no, but never gets play. Never gets play.
Down. Yeah, it's anyway. Well, now we get a random fight with Diamondback and Black Widow for basically no reason.
Yeah, I mean it's purely just a lot of lady fight. It's very lady fight.
And then we get
they're rough.
Going down and they are rough. But didn't she spot she saw I don't know if I don't blame her, but she sees Bullseye and just avoids him and then goes and tries to beat up Diamondback.
Yeah, but she sees Cap fall off the Sky Cycle and she thinks, oh no, and she hears him scream. So,
Well, now Cap's down and he's on this old building that blew up, right? And now we've got Bullseye there hunting down the people and here we go.
Oh man, it's on. Cap and Bullseye, cat and mouse.
Now we get the next page, and we've still got Natasha and Diamondback, who I have not heard called anything but Diamond. Correct?
Yeah, just Diamondback, and they're still fighting, exchanging punches, kicks, all in the Sky Cycle, and which I'm going to say this. I'm honestly scared. We're already getting people trying to make flying cars and other stuff like that. Imagine a world with flying Sky Cycles. How scary.
Well, here's something I do appreciate about this book. It is realistic because if you're fighting on a sky cycle and you're not driving it, it's going to crash into the water.
100%. 100%. And it does.
And it does. To a splooch.
Yes.
Splooch? Yeah. So
they're in the
then
danger zone.
And we're getting alternate pages here of the fight between Captain America and Bullseye, or the start of the fight.
Which I love because they alternate between the two fights or the two different things that are going on, which is great. You know, you get a little Cap and Bullseye, cat and mouse, Tasha, Diamondback fighting on the sky cycle, back and forth, back and forth. It's really good.
And then we get an ambush because Captain America's looking around. It's like, I know he's here I already know he's here. He knows I'm here. I'm moving about. He's holding still. And then we've got a shovel and a flashlight thrown at Captain America.
Boom.
And to be continued in 2 weeks.
Oh, man.
What was this? Like, they didn't... Like, so Captain America... Okay, Bullseye is in the story because Fisk wants Bullseye to figure out why other people are selling drugs.
Yeah.
And Captain America jumps into a pile of rubble to look for things and accidentally stumbles on Bullseye.
Yeah.
And then Natasha just attacks Diamondback for no reason.
Yeah.
Because Agent Carter could have prevented all of it just by telling Natasha that Captain America was fine and was hanging out with Diamondback.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I'm not going to lie, Dan. I'm not going to lie, listeners. I was screaming in my head reading this, like, what the hell?
And we don't advance the story at all, right?
Oh,
like,
we do.
We have some fights. We don't advance the poison on the streets of poison. Poison on the streets of poison.
I mean, a little bit.
It doesn't advance that at all. It just introduces a bunch of new characters into it. That's
true. It's introductions. You get a little wonky Cap action, you know.
Only thing we saw of the gangs from last issue was one panel of them looking at where the building got blown up.
They're looking at the building and they're wondering if the Fat Man was behind it.
And that's it.
But who's the Fat Man?
Well, that's probably Kingpin.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we get our backup feature with Battlestar.
Oh, thank God.
Stan Lee presents Battlestar in Fist of Truth. I wonder how long they tried to push Battlestar as a character here.
I would say for a while.
Well, we get some dialogue, and we get Gruenwald, Bagley, Hudson, Chang, and Yomtov. So we get a second crew here doing this, and that's awesome. And so they're still fighting, basically. Like, they're still fighting over whether or not it's John Walker in the suit. And basically we get a couple page fight scene of them, and they keep going for pages, talking to each other
and fighting, talking
and fighting and talking and fighting. And there's lots of dialogue because it's a Gruenwald script. Or I assume all Gruenwald scripts are this way because this is, the second big one I've read. I'm sure I've read them in the past, but sure. And then we get a mask unveiling. And he said, "Look, I'm not John Walker."
Oh, man.
And Starman. No, Starman's my favorite character. The Starman in the future. I better stop now because that could go on a while.
It could.
There's only been a few iterations. So, but yeah, U.S. agent. Okay. And then we get Iron Man flying out, who is apparently on the West Coast. And he's like, "Agent, what's going on?" And there's Wonder Man.
Yeah.
How did they not get sued over Wonder Man?
That's a great question. I always wonder that. I wonder that all the time.
I mean, it's just like male Wonder Woman, right?
But with Superman powers.
Yeah, it's just
no lasso is truth, but very much, yeah, it's
I own the terrible Wonder Man miniseries from the start of West Coast Avengers.
Yeah?
Oh, God. Yeah, I think that's what turned me off of West Coast Avengers before it became Avengers West Coast and got good.
Oh,
well, man. It got good in the middle of the series, but yeah, like, Wonder Man book is terrible. I don't think I can sell that for much. Maybe it can. Maybe Wonder Man will come back. You never know what Disney's going to prop up. There could be a Wonder Man series around the corner.
There could be. You never. I mean, would that actually? Okay, I'm not going to lie. Wouldn't it be good if they did do a whole entire West Coast Avengers thing?
Oh, West Coast Avengers would be fabulous, except they've already destroyed Hawkeye, so you can't really do it.
I mean, okay, so we're down one, but I mean,
don't get me wrong. I love that iteration of Hawkeye, right, from the comics and everything.
Yeah.
But once you have angsty Hawkeye, well, Hawkeye's always angsty, so
he's always
that's
angsty.
Fair. But it's just
he wants to live.
I think once you have that version of Hawkeye, it's hard to go back, right? Like,
true. But I mean, there's so much to be told with the West Coast Avengers. Sure. West Coast.
They were good stories. And yeah. I mean, it was, I thought it was a cool concept. Even, I mean, I read I think 7 or 8 issues toward the start of, I think from issue 8 through a while. Anyway, just as a kid, picking them up off the newsstand, and then I got distracted and started picking up other stuff. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I like the concept now as in later, because it gave all the Avengers characters a chance to grow. Right. It's sort of having, it's sort of like what Giffen did with Justice League, right? And then he did it twice when he did Justice League Europe, right? He's just giving more places for characters you wouldn't normally see to grow. That's why I kind of hate seeing Iron Man pop up here in the West Coast Avengers, right?
But it makes sense though, because he has a place on the West Coast. Why would he not be there?
It makes sense, but it just seems like a ploy to sell books to me, right? Because when the series started, it was the characters that didn't get to play in the Avengers book.
I know, but you have to have that
Mockingbird.
Yeah, Mockingbird. That's it. That's the character that we couldn't remember. Gosh, oh my gosh.
As an example.
No, but you need a moment where Tony pops up and it's, oh hey, Iron Man, you got your top tier. Your top tier character popping in with your mid tier folks and
I
stuff
guess
like that.
I don't. Well, if you want to sell the book, I guess. But I'm just saying, I don't.
I mean, they did the same thing with the Midwest Avengers too, the Great Lakes Avengers.
The Great Lakes Avengers? No, they did not.
Sure, they did.
You just want Squirrel Girl.
Who doesn't?
Well, anyway,
don't even get me started. That's a whole other podcast.
This story wraps up because Battlestar is like, you Avengers would do well to watch this guy. He's a walking time bomb, and someone's gonna have a mess on their hands when he explodes. And he said, and then Iron Man says off panel, so the mysterious US agent has a friend. What a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And US agent's like, shut up, Iron Man, just shut up. And then we get Battlestar. We get Battlestar driving on the Pacific Coast Highway in his Battlestar
mobile
that is clearly a Pontiac.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a Pontiac. It's dope as hell, dude. I would
in the Battlestar Pontiac.
I'm not even gonna lie. I want it so bad. I really do.
He calls his agent.
I think so. Yeah.
They chat, and he meets up with some squirrely dude who claims he's an American original or something like that, used to be his manager.
Mm-hmm.
And the manager is in duress because some people with power tools are about to attack him. And I hope this is the Wrecking Crew people.
Oh my gosh.
They were before, because that'll be fantastic.
The
last Battlestar story was good
at
the beginning of this, but this really lost momentum here because
you felt like it lost momentum. I loved it.
I just felt like it lost momentum. It's like we have a 4-page fight. I mean, it is a backup, so you're not going to move fast. So we got 4 pages of fighting and dialogue, and then a resolution, and then he's off to the next thing. So you know what? I'm probably being overly critical here because these are backups, and that's pretty much how a backup runs. So
yeah, I think you're being overly critical. I love the fact that it ends the way it does. It goes the way it does. I really want it to be the Wrecking Crew. I really do. I want it to be them so bad. You don't even know.
Well, we get to the end of the story, and we do have a letters page.
Oh, yeah, we do.
And We have a letter from John Kirby from Amity, Oregon, who we should also write.
We should.
And he says, okay, I'll be honest, guys. I haven't exactly followed the unparalleled adventures of Captain for hundreds of issues, but at least I have been following Mark's other mag since issue 1, Quasar. Anyway, the truth is I got Captain America 365 because it was part of the Acts of Vengeance, but I had to write anyway to tell you what a great job everyone did. The backup story was nifty too, so apparently somebody else likes the backup stories with Blastar.
Battlestar! God! You're doing this to anger me. You're doing this to anger me. I was already
interested when I heard that Mark, or Mr. Gruenwald, by the way, your column in Marvel Age, is right up there with the Fred Hembeck page, yet another plug. I did the writing duties for Cap, but there were so many other mags that sucked my wallet dry on a monthly basis. I couldn't possibly get any more. But this issue was so good, I'm going to budget so I can slip in one more title. And, I just had to read that part. John Kirby of Amity, Oregon. I hope that your 75 cents or $1 or whatever the price of this one was here was well worth it, because this Streets of Poison storyline is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it was $1, and his dollar was clearly well spent.
That was like a tank of gas and a candy bar and a coffee at the time. So, I mean,
no, it was a tank of gas. Gas was 99 cents. Yes, it was. Candy bars were like 45 cents though. Oh, right.
I mean,
50 cents,
kind of depending on the kind of car he was driving, we don't know.
No, gas was 99 cents a gallon. It was like between 99 cents and $1.10.
What year are we
talking?
You
weren't buying gas then. I was.
What year are we talking?
1990. Well, I wasn't quite buying gas yet, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Gas was not 90. It was like
no, it went up to $1. Trust me, it was when I was in college in Arkansas. It dropped back down to 99 cents. In the Midwest, it was like 79, 80 cents.
When I started driving, it was like 98 cents.
Well, yes, because you're how many years younger than me? This would fit the timeline, sir.
Whatever.
God, you're like arguing with me when I'm right. Like,
whatever, human calculator. I don't care.
Well, I'll team up with Blastar and we'll take out all the supervillains with my human calculating powers.
Battlestar. Damn it, you didn't get his name right.
Well, listeners, we're going to have an amazing continuation of our Drugs in Comic series, and we're going to get on to Captain America 374 on our next episode, because Streets of Poison Part 3, we've got to find out what happens with Captain America. Will he survive Bullseye?
Will he?
And won't since he? Bullseye has killed heroes before, we know it could happen again.
He does. And he will again.
Or maybe somebody will shoot him in the bullseye.
In the face.
How in the world do you wear a costume with a bullseye to your brain and not get murdered?
I don't know. Maybe it's just like he likes to tempt like fate, right?
Because you were like, this is such a cool costume. And I'm just looking at it. I'm like, no, it's not. It's lame. It's like, this is like Batman Calendar Man level costume shit.
True.
Well, anyway, I think, hey, buy Starlight. It's still out there. We talked about it on the last episode, but
buy Starlight.
Issues 1 through 6 up on Kickstarter. Go there now. Check it out. You heard us review issue 5, and issue 5 was a barn burner. I yelled at Greg about it for an entire hour, and you need to go back and get the rest, because I care about the characters and it's good writing. So go buy this shit. It's great.
And by the time you hear this, you should go check out another Kickstarter, because we love to pitch those Kickstarters. Supernatural Baby Detective by the man from the mothership, Kenrick himself. That's
Supernatural Baby Detective from Kenrick from, you said the mothership, but we haven't talked about the mothership in a long time. So maybe you should plug that.
The Spoilerverse. Yeah. That's right.
Spoiler Country.
Spoiler Country. But
we're in the Spoilerverse. That's
we're in the
Spoiler Country.
He's the
podcast.
Yeah. Yes.
And John and Kenrick will be relaunching that thing soon too. So
they are.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And go check it out. And if you like our podcast, you'll like theirs even better, because they actually prepare and talk to real people.
But if you like all things Cthulhu and all things darkness
in the Motherverse,
Well, I was going to say Supernatural Baby Detective is exactly that. It's a supernatural baby detective. I'm not going to tell you anymore. How many times does
Data die in it?
A lot. You're going to have to go check it out. You're going to have to look at it, and you're going to have to find out if it's the book for you. But it is, because I've already told you it is.
Well, and as I told folks last episode, I'll be continuing to work on adding the old episodes back to our feed. So if you're new to us, we have older episodes. Go back and listen to them. You could go back and listen to the Teen Titans episodes once I get them reposted. You could find out all about the drugs in the Teen Titans. You could go back and listen to us talk about Green Lantern and Green Arrow. You could listen to us talk about Spider-Man and drugs. Are you noticing a theme? You listen to us talk about Iron Man and alcohol. You listen to us talk about Timberwolf and drugs, the original Wolverine.
Literally worse than the last time you lost all the episodes that we recorded since high school, Dan.
Well, you know.
I mean, we've been doing podcast since high school. Through
tapes
college.
Yeah.
I know.
But if you want some fresh tapes, you can go to the Retro Emporium on Meeker Street in Kent, Washington. Look at that plug.
You could buy a blank cassette and a audio recording device and make a very retro podcast of your own by recording it onto a cassette.
Hey, we even had that black cassette player I carried around that I could record things on.
We talked into it.
So, well, anyway, on that note, I don't know if those are recoverable, but definitely what is recoverable is the ones we've recorded in the last few years. So I'll definitely keep working on getting those up for you. So if you're new to the podcast, keep looking for the feed to expand. I think right now there's 14 episodes up, but we'll keep building that feed out. So everything's there. It's going to take me a little while. I'm probably not going to sit down in one night and get everything back up there, but we'll keep building it. And I'm going to build it from newest to oldest. So mostly so you can go back and listen to the podcast relating to drugs and alcohol, and you can see what we liked and what we didn't like in the storytelling. And I'm sorry, Captain America 373, but wow.
Just wait till 374. Oh my God.
Well, it does have a cool cover where I could shoot Bullseye right in the head, but we want to know what happens to Captain America, so we're not going to give anything away right now, and we're going to wrap this puppy up. Thanks for joining us on another amazing episode of Funny Book Forensics.
Hit the button, dude.
Oh, yeah.